Sunshine and rainbows today, huh? Thanks, Max, for that very much undeserved introduction. Distinguished parents, loved ones, faculty and staff, and my fellow graduates of the class of 2024, welcome to Commencement on the National Mall. We made it. 27 years ago, my father left Nigeria for the United States, soon arriving in the wholly unfamiliar land that is Washington, D.C. And unexpectedly, 2 years later, he became a GW graduate. Shout out to Milken. When the time came for me to apply to college, my father's stance was simple. I was free to apply to whichever universities I so desired, so long as GW was one of them. And seeing as I'm standing at this podium today, I'm beginning to think I should listen to him more often. As I stand here today, I cast my eyes upon an incredibly diverse collection of motivated individuals. And by diverse, I by no means refer to cultural or national background alone. Whether it be the academic disciplines we represent, the ideological sympathies we maintain, or the number of assignments turned in at 11:59, we are all unique and different. Maybe not on that last part. The single unifying factor we all share, however, is the pursuit of higher learning here at GW. We will depart with degrees across the myriad disciplines, history or physics, international affairs or medicine, you name it, GW has it. We live in times, however, in which the value proposition of higher education seems increasingly only ever discussed in terms of improved earning power. And today, more than ever, I feel it critical to rectify that sentiment. After all, universities do not exist to maintain monopolies on knowledge and create privileged persons. They exist to provide safe and rigorous spaces of intellectual inquiry. They exist to craft minds liberated of the shackles of ignorance and prejudice. They exist to amass and uplift people of all backgrounds for that common dream of furthering humanity. And from Plato's academies of yore to the premier research institution that GW is today, this mission has remained unchanging. In our increasingly globalized and interconnected world, however, we are today more aware than ever of the innumerable diversities, uncertainties, and complex realities here and everywhere. And a complex reality is hard to grasp for all of us. However, we cannot resort to abandoning nuance and painting the world black and white. Such simplifications have yielded innumerable tragedies throughout history, and I need not cite examples. Nothing is more dangerous than being too set in our own simple and rigid thinking. Speaking here on the National Mall today is an incredible privilege, and given the context of the times we find ourselves in, I cannot help but recall the words of the late Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., who just over 60 years ago today similarly spoke on this very National Mall. And I quote, "If we are to have peace on earth, our loyalties must become ecumenical rather than sectional. Our loyalties must transcend our race, our tribe, our class, and our nation. And this means we must develop a world perspective. We must come to see that the end we seek is a society at peace with itself, a society that can live with its conscience." Coincidentally, The greatest value that higher learning education affords is that it cultivates our minds, teaching us to reflect deeply. A clear vehicle for developing a world perspective, if I say so myself. We shall go on to become attorneys and accountants, teachers and historians, physicians and politicians. Higher learning and the reflective faculties it cultivates within us is more important than ever. A bigger payday is but a fraction of that value. As GW students, our graduation canonizes us today as revolutionaries, a name we chose for ourselves. We are inspired by those revolutions that have ushered in new paradigms of thinking, introduced ground-shattering innovations, and challenged the status quo to make the world a better place. But the most important revolution we will ever stage is internal. We must come to embody the change we wish to see in this world. Thanks to Newton, we all know that to generate a force, we require mass and acceleration. I hear you, Cease. Before me is a whole lot of mass. All we need now is a tiny bit of movement. So let the first steps we take beyond these grounds be the accelerant that generates the reflective force for good we wish to see take hold in the here and now. After all, as the Eastern adage goes, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Congratulations, class of 2024. Raise high.